Hello from my kitchen, where I've decided to start an impromptu reading weekend vlog, reading vlog in general. I don't really know how long this is going to be. Probably not very long. I feel like I'm going to make it like a weekend thing, maybe weekend and Monday. I don't know. But I am currently at home alone, which sometimes happens. But in this situation, it's a little odd. So I'm not working today. Today is a Saturday. And Krista is not working today. But we had a little bit of like a scheduling issue. So we were supposed to go do something about 2.5 hours from our house. So it would have been 2.5 hours to get there, probably 2.5, 3 hours for the thing in general, and then 2.5 hours minimum back. So that's a lot of time, and that's not even including the fact that we would have had to arrive early. So that may have added an hour, hour and a half to what was going on. So we normally have someone who can like come by and take the dogs out if we're gone for a really long time, and she is unavailable. And we looked into other options and they didn't really pan out. So I'm at home because the dogs can't have me gone for that long. Ooh, the cats are fighting each other. That was Binks and Salem. Yep. So I'm home and I'll be home for that entire span of time. Oh, now Chloe's gonna whine at me. Are you whining at me? Hi, I'll be in a sec. So I thought I would just read a lot while I am here by myself with the dogs. Don't know how much reading I'll get done. I currently have 3 different David Sodergren books downloaded. I know I'm coming. Brain. I think Rotten Tommy, Maggie's Grave, and the Haar. The Haar primarily because it was on my like to read list, but so many people have wound up reading it during Summerween, and I guess I'm not in anyone's Patreon. I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. But I guess Jordaline is doing Maggie's Grave for her Patreon, and so I was like, oh, that one sounded cool. And then Rotten Tommy just has a creepy cover, so I downloaded it. So I have those 3 books. I have 2 other books, but I think I'm gonna save them for like a theme I want to do. So I downloaded Salem's Lot, which, yes, I am being very influenced by BookTube right now because Katie Colson just read Salem's Lot. But I like really wanted to do like a vampire themed vlog. I love vampires. And I haven't read that one, and I was trying to read more King. But I don't know if I'm gonna read it sooner or later because I got it from Libby, but I know I can get it from other places. I also got Woman Eating, but I'm not really in the mood for like, I feel like that one's gonna be slow and I'm not really in the mood for that right now. So I'm guessing I'll stick to Sodergren. I have a couple other goofy things. I have Nestlings from Nick Cassidy too. Ooh, maybe I'll read that. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I just thought I would vlog a little. I'm wearing a fun Old Navy Halloween shirt and some striped pajama shorts because it's hot out. And I took a shower and put my hair in this braid just to keep it from getting water everywhere. The other thing I'm doing today is when Krista gets home, I'm making a rack of lamb. We went out to dinner and got rack of lamb because we were watching cookie shows, and there's always like a rack of lamb or lamb in general. And I got the rack of lamb and accidentally ate all of it without giving her a piece. I'm going to blame very polite Canadians and half a bottle of wine that they gifted me. And I just wasn't looking at my plate. I was talking and trying to eat, and yeah. So I bought lamb, and the lamb got delivered yesterday. It's defrosting, and I'm cooking it tonight. So I also have to look up how to cook a rack of lamb, but that's like the big goal. Figure out how to cook a rack of lamb, read, and I'm gonna make breakfast. I've also watched some Summerween videos, but I'm like rewatching some of them. So I have Gabby Reed's final vlog up, so you're gonna hear that while I make my breakfast. I'm making a bagel, and then I'm gonna eat that, hang out with the pups, possibly read, maybe. I think I could read because if I pick a Sodergren, it normally doesn't get gory until like closer to like a third of the way through. So I think it'd be good. But I'm gonna make my bagel, get cozy-ish. I'm gonna sit at the Nook to eat, and then I'll probably try and transition to the couch. Though sometimes the dogs don't let me sit on the couch because they get really excited. So we shall see. But welcome to this spontaneous vlog where there will be horror and food. And you would think I would read Hannibal or something while preparing this rack of lamb, which, I mean, I really want to watch Hannibal. I've wanted to watch Hannibal for months. But yeah, now I'm just thinking of Hannibal. I've never actually read any of those. I should read those. I don't remember, have you read any of the like, I don't, like The Silence of the Lambs or A Dragon, any of those. If you have, could you let me know if you liked them? Because I just like haven't ever read them. I've seen the movies and I religiously watched the show. I should really read them at some point. Anyway, that was a tangent. I'm gonna make my breakfast, even though it's before noon. We're good. We slept in a little. Like, we slept until Krista had to leave and she was like, I'm going, bye. So yeah, I'm gonna have breakfast and I'll fill you in from there. So yeah, welcome to the goofy Catherine rambles because she doesn't know what she's doing vlog. Hello, you are on my nook. It's probably loud because the air conditioning is on. Kira is by my feet, so you might see a Kira face. Oh, a very close Kira face. Oh, don't knock over the camera. Hi, hello. Hello. So I am on chapter 9 of the Haar. It's like 29% in. And the premise of it is that this billionaire, they correct it a few times when Muriel calls him a millionaire. But this billionaire who's like Mr. Grant, something like that, he's trying to buy up all this land in this like small town and he wants to like landscape it, and basically it sounds like he wants to turn it into like a luxury golf course or something. He has been like buying up all the land, and a lot of people have left because they're offering like lots and lots of money for this land. But there's some holdouts. So Muriel doesn't want to leave because this is the house she's lived in with her husband. They raised their children there. He actually built the house. And he, to her knowledge, has passed away. And I'm saying that because we then learned that he actually disappeared at sea. And so I'm just going with he disappeared at sea. So it was just assumed he was dead. So she's been living by herself and they keep coming. They attack her chicken coop saying it's on Grant land and not her land, which she's like is a lie. I looked at the property map, it's definitely my land. And there's also someone else in the town still that she's close with named Arthur, who is trying to protect her and take care of her, and he has been ever since her husband died / disappeared. So I think he's going to become more prominent as the story goes. So far this is different than the other Sodergren books I've read. So the other ones are mostly set up more like traditional like slasher horror movie, where it's like these are the characters, you know which characters are going to die, and like they're all pretty terrible. And then there are some characters you like, and because Sodergren's books are more dramatic, typically no one survives. So I mean, sometimes, I'm just saying typically no one survives. But in this one it's different because Muriel just wants to be able to finish living her life in the home she and her husband like spent all of their time together. And so she just wants something to stop the construction. So the Haar is actually a fog that like has rolled in, and it's part of their like community. Like it has always rolled in, it always like surrounds her house at night. And the Haar actually was very present when her husband disappeared. So that we know. They also mention a cannibal pirate king at a certain point. I don't know if that's going to come into this later or not. But like there's just been constant construction. We're going to hope a cat does not knock over my stuff, because Bane over here is already in trouble for jumping on the fireplace. It's like not on or anything. It's a fireplace that you can like turn off and on. But he jumped on top of it and there's a bunch of like decorations on top of it. And I don't want him, oh, Kira's getting cozy. There we go. Bane, don't do it. But yeah, so my guess is because of how this creature appeared out of the Haar. It is not the Haar, it came out of the Haar. And it's very much giving me Little Shop of Horrors vibes, because it's a creature, it can't really talk, though it seems to be able to communicate with Muriel in some capacity, but it wants her blood. So, like, I'm like, oh, you're like Tui. Audrey 2 from Little Shop. But that's all that's going on for now. But she'd wanted something to stop the construction, and so now my brain is just instantly like, oh, what is this thing gonna do? Or like, is the Haar itself gonna do something? I don't know, because it's called the Haar, so I have no idea. Again, the Haar is a fog, so like, I don't know if the fog can do stuff. I have no idea. So I'm gonna keep reading. I don't have anything on like music or sound wise, which is so weird to me, because I normally always do, but Parker sometimes barks at the TV, and I don't want an ad to like make him start barking, because everyone has taken, they'll like settle and then something will make them unsettle, like a catch on the fireplace. Bane is right there, so I'm slightly glaring at him. Or like Chloe's really fixated on Goose today, so I keep having to yell at her to come up on the couch, because she just like whines and whines and whines and works herself into a frenzy. I know my voice went away. Kira's hanging out with me. But yeah, so that's really it so far. I would be farther if everyone would all settle at once, but I'll have like one dog settle and then someone else gets up and is doing something they shouldn't do, and yeah. Oh, I drank coffee before, just like regular coffee, my very fun cup. But I attempted to make a lavender latte, like this one I get at this diner we go to. I didn't have honey because there's a honey lavender latte, but I had lavender syrup left over from when I bought some ages ago, and so I poured a bunch in there. I used an espresso pod, and we had some creamer, and I put some in there. I don't normally put cream in my coffee, but this is a latte, and I thought the creamer would maybe add a little extra sweetness, and it's close. It does taste pretty good. So I'm slowly drinking that. Eventually I'll turn the AC off because it is getting cool in here, but like getting on the couch was difficult because of the dogs, and getting off the couch will be difficult because of the dogs. So yeah, gonna keep reading, and I'll let you know how that goes. Also, I look very like shiny. There's a window right over here, and so it's doing a great job of not showing you the couch, which is fun. But I'm gonna have to get up because Chloe just got off the couch. So yeah, maybe I'll turn off the AC now. But going back to reading, I will update you probably when I finish, unless I get stopped early. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, so I will talk to you when I have more of the Haar updates. See, I told you she was gonna start whining at a cat. This is, oh god. Ugh. Oh. Oh boy. Oh. Hi, I know I have not left this couch, but I just finished the Haar, and even though it says it's a horror novel, I would almost say it is a love story. Actually, really, I feel like that's what it is. Like, in his other books, there's always some relationship there in some capacity. So, Night Shoot, we have the lead female character and her girlfriend. That is one of the core sort of relationships that exist in that one. In The Forgotten Island, which is his first book, it's a sisterly relationship between our main character and her sister. In this one, The Haar, a lot of it is Muriel wanting to keep her husband Billy's memory and not wanting to leave him because she lived for him in a sense, and like does not, like, she feels like her life has changed since he has left because she misses him every day. And in this, she has a way to connect to him again. I'm not going to say how, but there is a way to connect to her husband again. And while yes, there is that gruesome body horror, this one has horror very similar to The Forgotten Island. It is more like sci-fi-ish horror, whereas Night Shoot is more traditional like slasher movie horror. So this one does feel more cosmic horror, but really a lot of it is about love, which is so interesting. I really like this one. I do think it's different than the other two that I've read, because again, there is love in those, but in this one, the love is a little bit different. I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like The Forgotten Island, that is actually his first book, which I didn't know, really shows his writing style and like what to expect, because Night Shoot is written in a similar vein, though again, not with the cosmic horror element. But I'd almost say like, maybe read this one first, because this one still gives his writing style, but it is different than the other two books I've read from him in that it is still gruesome, bad people still die, but there's just like levels of hopefulness in there. We are introduced very briefly to Muriel's grandson. He has the pug. So there's always a pug in all of his books. I do not remember where the pug is in Night Shoot. I don't know what to tell you. I can't remember. It's just gone from my brain. I'm sure if I reread it, I would instantly remember the pug, but I don't right now. In Forgotten Island, the pug belongs to the man whose boat is used on a sort of rescue mission. And in this one, the pug is named Bianca Del Rio after the drag queen, and belongs to her grandson and his partner, husband? I think it was husband. But yeah, I really like this one. I would maybe say read this one first, especially if you don't read a lot of cosmic horror typically, just to get a sense, because the kill scenes in this are akin to a lot of his other kill scenes. So I think you get a sense for his writing, and if you're not frequently as invested in like super gory horror, I think this would be a good way to get into his writing. I do want to read another one of his books. Oh, I forgot that was on here. I have like a whole list that just popped up. Oh, so this one came out before Bad Tommy, because this has Maggie's grave next. I'm gonna read the two descriptions and see which one I'm feeling more. I also got a notification that my hold for The Eyes Are the Best Part is in on Libby, which I was not expecting. I thought I was pretty low on the list for that. So I'm gonna read that this weekend because for newer books, when I get them on Libby, I try and read them as fast as I can because they're digital, and I sometimes feel bad if I have a book that I know has other holds on it because I want to like finish it so other people can read it. So yeah, I'm gonna try and read that pretty quick, I think. So I'm gonna read another Sodergren, and then I'll read The Eyes Are the Best Part before this weekend is over. So it's gonna be, I feel like I can say, I'm not gonna say extreme horror, maybe like gruesome horror. I don't know. I just don't feel like this one was really, like, some of it very, very gross, but I don't know that I would say it's extreme horror really. But yeah, so I'll pick another one. I will let you know what that is. I'm still slowly drinking my coffee. I'm wondering, no, she can't call me. So Krista has called a couple times when they have stopped on the way to the thing. She is with her parents because they were also going, but they've had to stop a couple times for various reasons, and she's called me because she's been in the car and they've like gotten out to go do something. So I kind of knew she was pretty close, but they're at the theater now, so she's not gonna call me. She might text me. Maybe she'll text me at intermission. I've been checking my phone, but yeah, no, she hasn't sent anything yet. So yes, that is the update for now. I don't think intermission for that show is even gonna be until like 3, and it's like a 10 till 2. So I have plenty of reading time still. Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I will figure out my next read. Oh no, a cat just sat on me. I was gonna stand up. So I'm gonna go. You can see the top of his head. And I will talk to you later when I get to the next Sodergren book. I also have to, the clip before this is me reading a little because I tried to, because I sometimes have pretty visceral reactions to some of his kill scenes. But typically I'm reading these at night because I can read the Kindle while everyone's asleep, so I try not to make any noise. So I actually let myself actually talk while I was reading. But I need to edit it because bits of it like shift in tone. And I feel like a 3-minute clip of me reading is a little long. Maybe not. Maybe I'll leave it as it is. We'll see. But I will talk to you later when I get to my next Sodergren book. Hello. Slightly different angle. You've already been in the kitchen. I'm not going very many places today, so I don't know what to tell you. I decided to read Maggie's Grave solely because the town it is set in is mentioned in the Haar. I think it's like Achmühlen. No, that sounded German. I can't do it. I did a Scottish accent once. I'm not very good at it. Achmühlen? I'm gonna say Achmühlen. You probably don't emphasize that. It's probably like Ochmühlen or something like that. I don't know. But it's basically a town that has almost no residents anymore. It had a mill, the mill burned down, all the jobs were gone. So we're following primarily 4 teenagers. They're really the only 4 teenagers in this town. They live with their families. All of them still live at home. They're between like 18 and 19. One of them, Alice, has recently had a baby named Eric, but the father has fled town. He and his family like picked up and left, which would seem suspicious, but the way things are going, I can kind of tell why that happened. Then, oh gosh, there's Steve, I think it's Steve, Beth, Grady, and then a mysterious American named Charlotte arrives. So the book opens with us seeing Maggie being basically accused and attacked because a small child said she was a witch, and it's during the peak of the witch trials. And they grab her, they attack her, but they like poke out her eyes, and then they realize she's with child, and they know, I forget the last name now, Mayer? It's probably Mayer, is the father. She yells that that's the father, and they like cut the baby out of her, but we don't know what happened to the baby. And then the rumor is that she comes back, or could come back, because she's searching for her child. So that's why I think the Alice having a child is really important. So we have like met everyone, kind of met their families. There's a town meeting occurring, so like no one is out. And they point out there's really nothing to do in town, besides, I'm going to say screwing. Actually, you know what? They say there's nothing to do except fucking drinking and bowling, which made me laugh exceptionally. So they're constantly at this bowling alley called Spring Heel Jack, which Spring Heel Jack was a colloquial term for like Jack the Ripper, I believe. It's for a serial killer. I don't know why these guys, and like they even point out like, why is his nickname Spring Heel Jack? But he just like runs his bowling alley. That's literally the guy's name. He goes by that name, Jack. He runs a bowling alley, he gives him beer, and he actually tells Beth that she should leave town, like she's too good for the town, because he like knows all these kids, like they're there all the time. But I don't really think this is a spoiler. I didn't super read the description, but something's going on in the town that involves a town meeting. So everyone, including the police, are there. There's one policeman. And while all of that is going on, some of our teens, plus this mysterious American who's arrived, all go to Maggie's grave. And things just get worse from there. And that's where I am. I'm about halfway through, actually. They're pretty quick reads for me, so who knows? I might even actually read Rotten Tommy, but I want to read this one next because it was still set in Scotland. I don't know if Rotten Tommy's set in Scotland. It didn't say. This one I just know is. We haven't gotten the pug yet, so I'm waiting for this pug to arrive. I'm wondering if it's going to be at like the very end of the book this time, because Bianca Del Rio, the pug in the last one, was like within the last like 10%, somewhere in there. Pups have just been napping. I finished my coffee and I'm thirsty. I should drink water. It's only like 3:30, but it's the weekend and I'm here with the dogs by myself. So I'm gonna drink one of these not very good Dunkin' spiked iced coffees. They weirdly taste like twisted teas. Like, I don't understand. They made a tea one apparently, so there is actually a tea one. But I'm gonna pour it because last time I drank it straight out of the can and it was like, you should shake it. It's like the consistency of tea too. It's so strange. But it said you should shake it, so I thought if I took it out of the can and like shook it in the cup, it would be better. It still smells like tea. No. It tastes like tea. Like, it literally tastes like twisted teas. Like, I know it's a malt beverage, but like the flavor I'm getting is like Lipton tea, like raspberry tea. I don't know, maybe my brain is just processing the flavor weird, but that's what it tastes like to me. So it's so strange. I'm drinking it because we have a few and I need to get rid of them. But I'm just gonna drink this one with the lamb. Tonight we will probably have wine because Krista doesn't have work or anything. So I just thought I would drink one of these just to get it out of the pantry, out of the fridge. So I did figure out how to cook a lamb. The website that I ordered the lamb from, I hoped they would have it. They have directions. So I found directions for how to cook the lamb. So I have a temperature for the oven, how long it should be in the oven, how long I should rest it, how I should prep it. I really thought one of the cats was in there. Doesn't it look like there's a cat in there? That's so weird. The thing behind me, doesn't it look like there's a cat in there right now? He's not in there, it's just shadows. One of the cats, Binks, sleeps in there all the time. And like, in my camera, it looks like he's there. So strange. It's, oh, my eye's playing tricks on me. That's a box. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm a little tired. I almost fell asleep on the couch, but I want to finish this book. The dogs need to go out in about half an hour. I don't know if I'll finish the book by then. But yeah, so I'll let you know my thoughts when I get to the end of Maggie's grave. I love a witch story. I love a witch revenge story. Slewfoot, much longer than this, different writing style, also involves a woman eventually getting revenge and was very good. I listened to that on audio for Summerween. It was my first book of Summerween. So yeah, I'll finish up Maggie's grave, let you know what I think. You'll eventually see the lamb cooking process. So there will be that. I might read Rotten Tommy next, then start The Eyes Are the Best Part tomorrow. I don't know yet. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna chill with Pups some more on the couch. I just thought you needed a slight change of scenery since I had not left the couch for like 3 updates, 3 clips. So yeah, gonna drink this not very good beverage while I lounge on the couch and read more of this book, which I know is about to get super, super gory because we're at the halfway point. So it already got gory, like a gory scene already happened, but I know it's gonna become a like free-for-all gore fest very soon. So yeah, I will update you and I will tell you where the pug is, dang it, because it has to be in it, has to. Also his publisher, because I think he publishes himself, is called like Publishing and Pugs or something like that, which is fun. But yeah, anyway, to the dogs. We're not pugs. I will talk to you in a little bit. Hello. I don't know about this lighting. I'm just standing here to give you a different visual behind me. I finished Maggie's grave, which in the author's note or the acknowledgements or whatever, he says is actually based on a real monument, kind of. There's something that says, here lies Maggie Wells, burned as a witch, in a town. He changed it for the story. And then he said, like, you can't find a Maggie in the records. So as expected, Maggie goes to town and literally goes to town on the townsfolk. Yeah, it gets very slasher, but this one did a very similar thing to the Haar, and the story is actually ultimately about love. Like, the key takeaway is, in this case, like familial love, like mother love for a child, because Maggie is seeking revenge because her child was taken, and then everything revolves around a mother and a child. Like, it's just like so good. Like, you get a ton of gore. There's so much gore. There was a lot of like genitalia gore, which I was not expecting. One involved a toilet, and I was like, ugh. Sorry. I had to take the dogs out in the heat. And apparently being outside around all of the blossoming plants made my asthma flare. But like, it was also about love. Like, it really was. Like, it was just very much about like wanting that child love, like wanting like that maternal love. It's so like super gory, and then like the message is ultimately love twice. Like, what? I don't know. I mean, I will say in Night Shoot there is a discussion of love really near the end, but like, I mean, that one kind of too does have a love plot in it. I feel like Forgotten Island doesn't really, like, there's sisterly love in that one, but it doesn't feel as core to the story, if that makes sense. I know I sometimes say that in videos, but like, if you've read Forgotten Island, there is the love between two sisters, but it's a little different than how these ones have been, where like a specific type of love is very key to what's happening. And in that one, it's just sort of like part of the plot. And again, in Night Shoot, it's also just kind of like part of the plot, but it is not the focal point of the plot. So yeah, so that's very interesting. I want to read Rotten Tommy now, which I think I can. These aren't taking me very long. So I'll probably read Rotten Tommy between today and tomorrow, or start it and then also finish it tonight, and then read The Eyes Are the Best Part on Sunday. Like slowly. That'll probably take a couple days or, you know, a couple of days. Me and my wife. I'm very hungry, and I think I'm getting a little slap happy because I'm hungry. I'm a little tired. I did have that 6% alcoholic beverage, basically a beer, in the form of spiked coffee or whatever the heck it was supposed to be. It still tastes like tea. So I'm gonna find a snack because Krista won't be home for probably 2 hours minimum. And I'm just really hungry now. So I'm gonna find something to eat, probably take a little break. I might still read, I don't know. I'm reticent to turn on the TV because I really don't want to deal with Parker barking at like a dog ad that might pop up on YouTube, and I don't know what to put it on something else right now. So I might just keep reading. I don't know, but snack, crucial to my existence right now. So I'm gonna go get a snack. And I'll update you on the lamb, because that's probably the next thing I'll show you, unless I get kind of far into Rotten Tommy. But yeah, I am very hungry, so gonna go deal with that. Hello. Okay, took me a sec to like set up the shot. You won't see me doing that, but like I had to do a bunch of stuff. Chloe and Parker are playing tug, but I am 38% through Rotten Tommy. So I'm on chapter 15, which is part of part 2. So brief synopsis of the book. It starts with a flashback in like the 80s where we meet a man who hates children, hates puppets, and is somehow in charge of a children's television network. And he abhors it. Like, he wants to be making adult not like adult content. He wants to be making like primetime television shows. This is also, he wants to be working for the BBC, but he has to work in Scotland and he does not want to do that. This book is set in Scotland, so FYI, another Scotland set book. Not all of his books are set in Scotland, but I feel like a lot of them are like Scotland. I think Night Shoot was England, I think. But in this one, we get this flashback where he hires someone to create a show called Rumplejack. And the idea is that he funnels all of the money for the entire production company, like the entire network, into Rumplejack. And then suddenly everyone is sent home. He says the show's not being made, he can't get in touch with anyone, so he has to go to Scotland to this like remote cabin that he had rented for the director and figure out what's going on. In that moment, some very horrifying things happen, which I was not expecting, okay? I thought I was fine. This is the second time. So this happens in Maggie, in Maggie's grave too. In the prequel, someone's eyes are like destroyed. Both books. And I wasn't expecting it because it was in the first one and I was like, okay, so not expecting someone to have their eyeballs destroyed. I was eating a leftover Taco Bell burrito. Yes, a leftover Taco Bell burrito. You heard that correctly. We got Taco Bell for lunch yesterday. Krista didn't eat one of her burritos. She left it for me so I could eat it while she was gone today. And I did. And I was eating it while they were talking about eyeball viscera. And I was just like, all my years of watching CSI while eating dinner have prepared me for this. And I just like kept eating that burrito and being like, yep, you've seen worse. Just keep eating. Don't think about it. So I did finish the burrito. I have a strong stomach, okay? But then it jumps forward in time. I think it's 2015. All I know is it's 40 years later. I can't remember the exact date. 40 years later, and we are with, oh gosh, why can't I remember her name right now? I've read too many names today. That happens if I read a lot of books back to back. I'll forget people's names. Hold on, I will just scroll back because it says it in here. Becky. I thought it was a B. I was like, I think it's Becky. My brain was like, it's Beth or Becky because there was a Beth in the last one. Bud, what are you doing? Hey, no. Parker, stop. Parker's licking the floor. It's a thing he does. He knows he's not supposed to. He's trying to eat hair off the floor, but we like recently swept, so there's not really anything for him to find. But he's trying real hard. Anyway, back to possibly less gross things. So Becky is working on a screenplay for, I believe, a children's show or film, because she keeps saying, what annoys a noisy otter annoys a noisy otter. And that just seems like a children's show. She says that she went into like screenwriting in honor of her mom, who is an actress. And as it turns out, her mom disappeared, has to be more than 40 years ago then, because it says the mom disappeared 40 years ago. Yeah, no, it's still worse. It'd be 40 years from the prequel then, or the prologue. So her mom disappeared 40 years ago. They have no idea what happened to her. And she and her husband are currently living in her childhood home, and they have some builders doing some stuff. And these builders are tearing apart part of the living room and find a box. And in the box are 3 VHS tapes that have the words Rumplejack on it. Now, at that point, no one has ever seen Rumplejack. Apparently Rumplejack has never been released. If you read the prologue, you would know why it was never released. But in that prologue, you don't even know there are VHS tapes of it. Like, it just sounded like nothing ever occurred. Like, the filming occurred, but then no one had anything. And Becky, I almost called her Beth again. Becky is like, what are these tapes? Like, what is going on? Her husband, I'm gonna take a sip of water because I'm gonna cough. If it looks pink, it's because there are strawberries in there. I'm not drinking blood. I feel like I'm just talking about horror and then I drink pink liquid out of a cup. But she wants to watch these tapes to figure out what's on them. Her husband and her sister are like, no, don't do that. That's probably, you know, stuff mom and dad filmed and you don't need that in your life. But she finds someone who can convert them to digital files, and is able to watch some of them and watches Rumplejack. Now, during all of this, they also find a missing children's poster, like a sign that says missing child. And Becky is like, that's my face, like her young child face. And so she becomes very fixated on these tapes and figuring out what's going on. And it turns out her mother is on these tapes. But this show has never appeared on any of her mom's IMDb records, no anything. Like, she has never heard of it. She did not know her mom was in this. One sec. Parker! Parker, stop! He's just trying to find stuff to get into because he knows I'm distracted. I will finish very quick because I don't want to tell you too much more. So we have heard this rhyme. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause because he's not. Parker! Stop! Bub, stop! Okay, sorry. If I keep him over here, he won't get into trouble. So I'm giving him pets. But she gets fixated on the tapes. And this fixation, we then learn, this is very cool for story writing. Becky is actually late in life diagnosed with autism, and we learned that she is currently in a state where she's trying to unmask and make herself more comfortable because she's been masking her entire life because she did not know that she was autistic. But she went and like got tested because she thought maybe she was. So she is an autistic main character, which is very cool. We're getting to hear a little bit about her like things she will like hyperfixate on or like fixate on. And she has a plushie that is a penguin. Also, the pug did appear, not in the way I expected. The pug is part of Rumplejack, which is slightly horrifying. But Rotten Tommy comes from a character in Rumplejack. So we are introduced to the character of Tommy, not in the prequel exactly, in the prologue. I keep calling it a prequel, I'm sorry. Not exactly in the prologue, but it comes up pretty soon after the fact. And there's this ominous figure moving about. So that's really all I'm going to tell you. I will say the creepiness factor of this, there's also, besides the eyeball thing that I was not prepared for while eating a burrito, we got a very gross, like, viscera everywhere death. And beyond that, there's really only been, well, there have been 3 deaths so far, but I'm not going to get into details for all the deaths. And then we are watching clips of Rumplejack, and they are horrific. What this is giving me in terms of the television show is what I wanted Knock Knock Open Wide to give me, because that one also has a television show in it, which I now cannot remember the name of at all, but it involved like people in trench coats and a goat. I think it was a goat. Yeah, it's a goat. This is giving me what I wanted from that. We're getting way more of the show. We are getting research into the show, and it is creepy as friggin' heck, and I love it. I also enjoyed Mr. Magic, though I really hope that they do the comic book adaptation like they did for Hyde, because I would like to see Mr. Magic. Like, there's a whole thing about seeing Mr. Magic, but I would like to see like the ideas behind it. And for the adaptation to graphic novel, some things are condensed or removed. Not that I would suggest doing any of that, but I'm just like, the story is sort of abridged a bit, and I feel like people who didn't like hide the actual novel would like hide the graphic novel, because with the pictures and that focus seemed to be on fewer characters than from people who said they read the actual book, I think it would be helpful. So I think people would like Mr. Magic more as well if it was graphic novel adapted. But anyway, also, this has more frightening things tied to the children's television show than that did even. And I thought that one was pretty solid. Though I did also want more of the creepy television shows. This is giving me everything I wanted from a creepy television show. And I'm sorry some of these clips are so long, but also like, I am home by myself reading a lot of books back to back and not like watching anything or doing anything else. So literally it's you, me, the dogs, and periodically the cats. And it's nice to talk to someone. I know you're like watching this later, but it's very pleasant just to have someone to chat with about a thing. So I'm gonna keep reading more of this. I think Krista might call soon. She was giving me updates on like where they were and how far away they were. It is now almost 6:15, and she has at least oh, she's calling. I was right. All right, I will update you later on the book. Bye. Okay, I'm briefly opening my oven. It said 400 and I just started it. But inside, where you're gonna adjust to the high heat, is a rack of lamb and these little potato puffs. And I did not show you prepping the lamb because, well, it was weird, so I didn't. All right, random shot of, we bought this a little bit ago. Stella Rosa Moscato. I don't know. They had a bunch at our liquor store. It came in a fun like container. We're gonna drink this with dinner. So I thought I would show it to you in a cup, but I wanted to show it to you before I opened it because it has like really fancy like floral. If I do that, it'll focus. Maybe not. Kinda. No. Are we focusing in any capacity? No. Let's try it this way. You're focusing on the fireball. If I put it there. There you go. It's like a floral design. It's really cool. But I'm gonna open it and get in some glasses because food is just about done. Behold, one officially cooked rack of lamb that needs to rest a couple minutes so that I can actually cut it. But there's the rack. I broke one of them when I was taking it out of the bag, the bones. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut it. I'm not gonna show you me cutting it because I think it's gonna be a hot mess of nonsense. Because I've never had to cut a rack of anything before. And then I will show you it plated. And then I'm gonna snag like an Instagram photo just to show it off. There's a lot of focus on a piece of meat. But then I'm gonna cut it so it's easier to eat for me and Krista. So yeah, this is what it looks like. It's making a lot of noise because I put some olive oil on it to help. It mentioned olive oil in the directions, so I just tossed some in the pan with it. But yeah, gonna let this cool a tiny bit and then cut it up. And then I'll show you the final product. Behold the final product. I didn't make those were like little frozen potato things. There's the lamb. I'm gonna cut the bone, like cut everything off the bone in just a sec. But yeah, it's like 3 each, and then there's 2 in the pan, but the bones were completely busted. And my wine. We added elderflower liqueur. There we go. I made it. It looks good. It looks cooked. It might be overcooked to like Gordon Ramsay standards, but it is at the temp that it's supposed to be. So yeah, we're gonna go eat. But I did it. I made the lamb, right? I will talk to you at some point later about Rotten Tommy. Bye. They put up the sign so soon. Maybe they'll open early. Last year they didn't open till September, so maybe they're opening sooner. The pods are already here that they used to load in the store, and they already have Halloween on the doors. So maybe they're opening really soon. I'm so excited. Okay, bye. Hi, oh my gosh, it is so hot. So you will have seen clips of us going to get breakfast and then going by our mall. So I will show you that first. Our Spirit Halloween is actually getting ready to open a lot sooner than last year. So I'm hoping it opens in like August instead of September. But we stopped in at Hot Topic. They were doing a buy one get one 30, and Krista collects all the Steve figures, and she didn't have that one, so we got that. And then since she was getting something, we wanted to get something for the 30% off. So I got this, like, he's Blacklight Chucky, but he's like, I'm gonna call him Technicolor Chucky because he's so bright, but I don't have a Chucky Funko, and I thought this one was kind of fun, so did that one. And then we stopped at Walmart because, oh gosh, oh no, that's not her name. Mandy Spooks had said that there were Hocus Pocus shoes, and I agree with her. This is not my favorite art of the sisters, but she mentioned there were slippers, and I wear slippers with these, like, the actual going outside bottoms all the time when I take the dogs out in, like, the fall and the winter. So I was like, oh, I should look and see if they have them, and they had 1 pair left of just the slippers. So I got those, and then Krista went online and ordered from Walmart's website the actual Hocus Pocus, like, fake Vans, because I do actually need a pair of, like, slide-on shoes to wear, that aren't tennis shoes, because, like, everything I have is like a lace-up of some sort, or it's a sandal. So I'll have these for taking the dogs out, and then I'll have those shoes coming, and you won't see them in this vlog because they have to ship. And then I saw these, and decided to get them. So they actually have Lydia on them and say, I myself am strange and unusual. And then they have this little Beetlejuice guy there, then beetles on the stripe, and the inside is the sandworm. And I thought these would be really cool to wear, one, just whenever, because they're a black and white shoe with green highlights and would work really well with a lot of stuff that I have. But when we go see Beetlejuice, I can wear them with my Lydia poncho, and while technically they don't go with Lydia's outfit because she's wearing black shoes with that, I don't care, they're too fun. Yeah, so I thought I'd get a decent amount of wear out of these. And they have like a reinforced like toe. Like it's supposed to be a faux chuck, so like it's a see-through thing, but I think the like plastic on it will help to give it better wear. So yeah, I'm excited to wear those. Probably when it's a little less hot, but I'll probably start rolling them out in August. But yeah, so I just thought I'd show you guys the like spooky stuff. Oh gosh, I'm so hot. I was not going to say guys, but my brain is tired. So I thought I would show you all the shoes and the little Funko guys. But I'm gonna go get something cold to drink, even though I've had 2 honey lavender lattes that were cold already, but I'm so sweaty. It is so hot, it's so muggy. And we're just gonna hang out with our air conditioning unit on downstairs with the dogs. So I'm gonna go. Let me know if you have seen these or if you had seen these shoes. I feel like I saw them before and didn't get them, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later when I finish Rotten Tommy, because I only have 25% left, I think. And it's gotten very like extra creepy in a way that I thought it was going to go, which is fun. But yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you later when I am less gross. Good morning. I'm gonna prep my iced coffee. I debated. So last night right before we went to bed, it thunderstormed. Well, like super rainy stormed. I thought maybe I could have hot coffee today, but I am too warm, so we're not doing that. So I'm putting iced coffee stuff together, which basically just means I'm putting off brand Splenda in a cup and pouring iced coffee on top of it. But I said I would update you. I actually didn't officially update you when I finished Rotten Tommy, but I finished it. And again, Sodergren is really like, there's so much horror in that. Like, Grissom, why are you focusing on a red bowl? Sorry. It's literally focusing on everything behind me and not me. Hello, how you doing? It's still blurry. Oh, it's so strange. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep talking. I don't know why it's decided this part of the room deserves to be highlighted when it's not a human. But the story itself has a ton of gore in it. Some really creepy stuff occurs in Rumplejack. But the story itself is a lot about like being understood and accepted for who you are, and people like listening to you and acknowledging what you want. So Becky, I believe it's Becky. Yeah, that one's Becky. We know early on in the book that she is late in life diagnosed autistic. And that really plays into, I think, the end of the story. We also get an author's note where he says he was also diagnosed with autism late in life, but that he explains like some things that I wrote into Becky like are things that relate to me, but the autistic experience is not like overarching. Like every person is different. So he says like you might notice some things in Becky that you've noticed in other people you may know or have interacted with, but that's not the overarching experience, which I appreciated as an author's note. But I thought it was really good. A lot of really surprising things are happening at the end, and I am just very curious about some stuff that got set up, because we're almost always in Scotland, and like I honestly don't know what order that book fits in with everything else. But ending, very, very interesting. I then started, I'm gonna cough, I'm really sorry. Dead Girl Blues. So I know I said I was gonna start The Eyes Are the Best Part, but I've kind of decided that I'm just gonna do like a couple more Sodergren books, and then The Eyes Are the Best Part is gonna be in a different video, because I downloaded a lot of Sodergren on Kindle Unlimited, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I have 12 days left on my The Eyes Are the Best Part hold, and I think I can knock that out in plenty of time. So I'm reading Dead Girl Blues right now. Our main character in that is Willow, and we were introduced to someone named Jessica, which I'm just gonna throw out there. The beginning of it is kind of in alternating timelines between Jessica and Willow, and Willow meets Jessica, and Jessica kicks off the rest of the story. but Jessica's not in the rest of the story. So I'll leave that kind of loose. The police think Willow is involved in things that have to do with Jessica, and Willow has a mysterious cell phone. I actually think this has to be in the description, but I'm gonna try and be vague. She has a cell phone, and she was trying to figure out, like, there's a really creepy video on it that kind of looks like a snuff film. And then she talks to a friend of hers about it named Eve, and Eve is an idiot. So some stuff happens with Eve, because in Sodergren, when you make horrible decisions, horrible things happen to you. So that happens, and that is as far as I am. Now, there is the idea kind of set up, there's some sort of shady group or organization, because Jessica mentions, like, they're after me, they're coming, and there has been a man with a limp in a black jacket. The limp is tied to something with Jessica. But yeah, so there's like a man in all black, and they're definitely following Willow or paying very clear attention to Willow because they know she knows things slightly. So there is that. Willow is also an exotic dancer, so the police don't want to listen to her. This specific policeman, who is a jerk. Which, again, Sodergren book, if you are a jerk, horrible things happen to you. So I'm sure something horrible is going to happen to him as his comeuppance. But yeah, so far, that's as far as I am. I'm only like 25% in. So I'm reading that one, and I think I'm going to end with The Perfect Victim, because I downloaded 4 books. So I did Dead Girl Blues, The Perfect Victim, one with a church, like All Sinners Must Die or something. I'm not sure. And then one that I'm not as actively interested, that's like something with motorcyclists and Satan. I don't know. That's the only one that I downloaded, and then I was like, maybe. So that one's not high up on my radar, but I'm thinking I'll finish this one and then read The Perfect Victim, because I remember Jordaline saying The Perfect Victim was really good. So I think I'm gonna do those 2, and that'll finish off this one, and then at some point I'll read those other 2 Sodergrens that I mentioned, because they're not 2 that I'm as invested in. One more than the other, but I'm gonna hold off on that one. But yeah, so that is the plan, and then I will do a different video with The Eyes Are the Best Part, probably women eating, because I also reserved that for my library on Libby, and I only have a certain amount of days. So keep an eye out for those later. This is just going to be a Sodergren video. But I'm going to go because I have work, and we have a meeting at 9, and I want to be in my office and like set up in plenty of time, because sometimes they start them early. So I gotta go. I have my coffee in my Spirit Halloween tumbler. I had it out for Summerween, and it's a very fun tumbler, so I'm going to keep using it. Also, I drink less iced coffee at home in October, so this is fun. And I'm excited that my Spirit might be opening in August, because they did not put out signage, they did not have pods, they didn't do anything last year in July, and they opened like late. Like, they even had like stuff completely set up, and they still had the gate down so like you could walk by, but it was closed. And we even talked to someone, because we were like, hi, when are you opening? Because they were like setting everything up still, and I swear it was like September 2nd even. Like, it was even a little bit into September. I don't remember. I think it's in a video, in all honesty, but I don't remember. But yeah, so I'm gonna go because I gotta work, and Chloe's whining at a cat. So I'm gonna go tell her to shush, because that particular cat does not want to be whined at. Yeah, so I will update you when I'm farther in Dead Girl Blues. I don't know when that will be. Probably sometime today, but either at lunch or after work. Like, I don't know, really. I don't know what I'm gonna be up to today for work, so I will update you later. Hope you're enjoying all this Sodergren. I just was in the mood, so that's what we're doing. All right, I'm gonna go now, officially. Bye. Hello. Okay, so my lunch break is just about to be over. I'm not turning off my fan because it's hot in here because I had the oven on. I am above my kitchen, so if the oven is on, my office gets exceptionally warm. What was I going to say? Oh, there we go. One sec. So, while I've been working, I have had Scream on for background noise, and I currently have Urban Legends on for background noise. I didn't finish it before lunch, so I'm just gonna keep finishing it. I've seen both of them before. That's why they're background noise. I also managed to finish Dead Girl Blues, which, according to the author's note, Sodergren calls slasher noir. So he says he was inspired by giallo and I'm very sorry to tell you this, I have not seen a single Giallo film, though I have listened to a number of horror movie podcasts, like break down Giallo movies, explain Giallo movies, go through a number of Giallo movies, so I know the vibe of a Giallo movie, but I have not watched any. So I'm just putting that out there. I should probably watch one at some point in my life. I haven't. If you have suggestions for a Giallo, leave them below. I currently don't have Shudder, but I have Tubi, so if there's one on Tubi, let me know. Or I feel like it's either Shudder or Tubi that would have it. I might get Shudder again. I ran into a tiny bit of an issue with it last year where I had it, thought I canceled it, and then there was like a charging problem. They rectified it very quickly, but like I'm just waiting till closer to spooky season so that I can like maybe get it for like not wildly expensive for just a couple months. Anyway, let me know. If it's on Shudder, just give me a heads up and then I'll know to like look for it there. But again, any Giallo that you think is good, let me know in the comments. But back to Dead Girl Blues. So the story, definitely based on the concepts of Giallo, is very gory, very sex fueled, but it does have the investigation. So Willow is trying to figure out what happened to Jessica, what led to Jessica being in the situation she was in with Willow. We find out there's sort of like seedy, mysterious things occurring, and a lot of, I'd already mentioned the like snuff thing, that continues to come up consistently until the end of the book. It does the thing. So if you've read Night Shoot, so this is only kind of a spoiler if you've read Night Shoot, I'm gonna leave it a little open-ended. Sodergren does something with a particular character that between its announcement earlier on and the ending, something comes to fruition that is like teased will probably happen based on something the character says. This same thing happens at the end of Dead Girl Blues. It works very well. It is very gross. Oh, sorry. But this one, because it is, based on what he said, a slasher noir, different than his other works, which are more horror specific, it does have a different tone, and we are following things a little bit differently. So there is sort of like a hitman kind of character that we meet periodically, but that ties into the investigation of what is going on. So it is very much like a whodunit with gore. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a super fast read. You do definitely need to be very comfortable with sex in this, like reading sex scenes, reading sort of sexual moments. Not, I almost want to say not as much as you do for, oh my gosh, what is it? Forgotten Island. I feel like there might be more sex in Forgotten Island by like a scotch. But that's just like going off of like feelings of this. Willow is an exotic dancer, so we get a couple exotic dance moments, but nothing, it's all very like classily written because she's more of a performer, they say, like she's an artist in what she does. So she actually comments on some people who she thinks don't perform as well as she does. So there is that, but there is a lot of like sexual moments because of things that are being filmed. So just as a heads up, it was very good. I had a fun time. Definitely a mystery, so I had fun. I did not guess all of the twists. It was very good at like not really cluing us in. So I had fun. I thought it was a fun time for something full of graphic horror. But the last one I'm going to read is The Perfect Victim, which I'm not sure how this one's gonna go. I know it has two like main characters and there's a kidnapping, but that's all I know. I will say the more I'm reading his work, the more I'm realizing that like Night Shoot and The Forgotten Island share a writing setup. And then all of his other books are kind of, there's some like overarching element in them that sort of appears. This one, because it is Giallo-esque, feels a bit like a whodunit version of his previous, like of those two books. Now, there aren't as many tropes in this. There are a couple you've made bad decisions, now you die moments. So that is in there. And I would say in comparison to Maggie's Grave, the Haar and Rotten Tommy, there is not that sort of this is what it was all coming to moment where there's like some metaphor, or I don't think metaphor is the right word there, sort of like overarching thing that like brings the story away from horror. Like I had said in the Haar, love is really a proponent of that. Love also comes back up in Maggie's grave, but they're different kinds of love. And then there's almost a sense of love in Rotten Tommy that appears. It's just very different from those two. And almost like an understanding and acceptance being part of that overarching story that we're learning. This one, it is more investigation. When the investigation is over, the story is done. Yeah. So, still very good, but I'm gonna say I will compare it more to Night Shoot or The Forgotten Island. Probably closer to Night Shoot because Night Shoot doesn't have spider monsters in it. But yeah, so moving on to Perfect Victim. That probably won't get done for a while. But I did get a notification a book I requested my physical library is in. But I don't need it immediately. I'm waiting for another one because apparently Home is Where the Bodies Are Buried is in transit, which means I should actually get it tomorrow, which is baffling to me because I still don't have the Honey Witch. I requested the Honey Witch so long ago. By the time I get it, am I even gonna want to read it anymore? Like, it's been months at this point. And I literally like just requested Home is Where the Bodies Are like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whatever. I have that and another book, Silence of the Lambs. I don't own it. I added it because I was talking about it. And oddly enough, they didn't have a digital version. They only had physical, so I just requested the physical one. So I'll have those two hopefully to pick up tomorrow. I'm not sure. May or may not walk to the library to get them. It's not that far from my house. I don't know. We'll see. See what I'm feeling, or if I'll just go later this week with Krista. But yeah, I feel like that's it for updates. I'll start the Perfect Victim when I can and fill you in. And then that will be the last book in this specific vlog. Because again, we've decided this is the Sodergren. So I just said that like almost the exact same way twice. And whatever. This is the David Sodergren vlog. So that's all I'm gonna read. The next one will include The Guys Are the Best Part, Woman Eating, possibly Home is Where the Bodies Are if I have it by this week. And then I might hold off on Silence of the Lambs. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna go because I have to get back to work. But I wanted to fill you in before my lunch break was over. So yes, talk to you later when I have the Perfect Victim thoughts. Whew. It is very hot in my office still. I'm doing this update super fast. Work just ended and I need to go weed whack. Krista is mowing. She gets done a lot earlier than me in the summer. Her office has special hours. So she's already mowing, but I said I would weed whack as soon as I got done. So I'm doing this super fast so I can get downstairs. I started Perfect Victim, and I don't, oh, what is everyone's name? Oh, Katie Ketcher, and I remember that because my first and last name also start with a K, and her best friend Jill are walking home from school, and there's this white van, and the white van has people in it whose names are Baxter, Corvo, and then we later meet Emma and Varg, I don't know. I'm going with Varg, but that could be very wrong. It doesn't matter, he's a creep. So in the story, the two girls are walking home. Katie, they like separate at a certain point, and Katie kind of keeps like a very specific schedule of leaving school at certain times and always going home at certain times. On top of that, her dad is a famous director, and this group of people have decided to kidnap her and ransom her. Now, I had already mentioned this story does focus on two girls. So what happens is the focus is to get Katie, like they are planning to kidnap Katie, but Jill winds up in the crowd, like she just winds up being grabbed at the same time because they initially split up, they come back together, and when they come back together, they're already kidnapping Katie, and so Jill kind of just gets grabbed because she's a witness at this point. Now they're hoping to ransom both girls because they don't know anything about Jill. They've only been researching Katie. And the issue is that Jill's family is definitely not as well off as Katie's father. So they're taken to the seaside, which if you've seen the cover, there's a bunch of sand. So they wind up at the seaside, but what they don't know about Katie is her father writes some very, very scary movies. There is one about a kidnapping that she has seen, but because he is wealthy, and she goes to a regular school, and she insisted she wanted to go to like a regular school for regular kids whose parents are not famous, he has actually like talked to her about what would happen if she got kidnapped. And Katie also has a very overactive imagination. So she has the benefit of being able to think through things, figure things out. And she's actually thought of what would happen if I was kidnapped before. So she's working through that. And at this point, she's at the seaside. We have been introduced to all the characters. And there is one particularly goofy thing. So they're going to ask for a lot of money because it's ransom. One of the people also wants this director to remake The Last Jedi. He wants that to be part of the ransom demands, to which Baxter, who's basically in charge, is like, no, I don't know why you thought I was ever going to ask for that. I'm not doing that. It is so freaking funny. I'm not going to get into the details, but it cracked me up. I'm trying to think. I feel like we haven't gotten the pug yet. In the last book, the pugs were just being walked. Like, she saw a woman walking a pug. I don't think we've gotten to the pugs yet. I feel like pugs haven't been mentioned. Very curious to know when the pug will appear. Because sometimes the pug is innocuous. Sometimes the pug is scary. Also, my battery is dying, so I gotta go. I gotta woodwork anyway. But liking perfect, victim so far. Bye. Hello, I have a pug. His name is Pugsley. I want him at the fair with the, like, dart balloon things. I won him last week, and I just realized he's perfect for this video. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Speaking of perfect, I finished The Perfect Victim, which, I have so many things that I have to talk about for this book without spoiling anything, I promise. So in the author's note, he compares this book to Home Alone. And he talks about how he was actually writing this book, like he started writing it as a break from Dead Girl Blues. So halfway through Dead Girl Blues, he like took a break. And then he started working on Perfect Victim, and then kind of like wrote a little bit of it and then put it in like a drawer. And then went back to Dead Girl Blues. And what's funny is in Dead Girl Blues, there's a reference to a fake band called Kevin and the McAllisters. And this one is based on Home Alone, sort of. So a lot of it is Katie surviving. But Katie has to try and escape being kidnapped. And in order to do that, she winds up laying a lot of traps, in a sense. So I do not want to spoil anything. Because it was a really like interesting read. It is not, I mean, it's a little gory, but I feel like it's not as gory as some of the other books that he's done, which makes sense because he was writing this as a lighter project in comparison to Dead Girl Blues. So I would say this one has like its own sort of like tone. It would be a good introduction to his writing because I do think it shows like how he writes and his character work. But if you're not used to like super gory stuff, or you want something that's set in like reality with no like monsters or like a big overarching plot that has to do with something like very dangerous or traumatic, this one has a kidnapping, which is traumatic for Katie, but is more like one person just trying to get by. So I say this one, if you haven't read anything from Sodergren before, I think this one would be a good starter Sodergren. Then I was trying to think of how, because normally in my videos, I don't give star reviews. I will normally like rank the books I read, but I don't think that really works if they're all by the same author. So, because I really enjoyed all of them and I can't figure out how to tell you like which one was better and which one I like, because like I enjoyed all of them at about the same level. And I thought they were really fun. So I'm trying to think. So I did want to give suggestions because I know a lot of people right now have read the Haar, and some people have read Forgotten Island. I'm trying to think. I feel like Jordaline read Night Shoot, but I don't know that a lot of people have besides me. I would say Night Shoot and Forgotten Island have the same sort of setup with the like slasher kind of vibe. Though, because it's like tropey characters being killed off by something. So I would say those two are similar in a sense because of the setup of the characters. I will say, if you liked Night Shoot, I think you would really like, oh, which one was I gonna say? Oh, I actually really think that you would like Rotten Tommy, because it is focusing on sort of a main female protagonist, similar to Night Shoot, and it also has that like media setup because it is technically a television show that you're focusing on. I would also say Dead Girl Blues would probably be a good one if you like Night Shoot. Forgotten Island, I would say if you liked that one, you should read The Haar, and vice versa. And I also think if you like Forgotten Island, you would probably like Maggie's Grave, because I feel like Maggie's Grave and The Haar really sort of connect with each other in how they are set up. Rotten Tommy is a little bit different because it kind of blends the like Night Shoot-esque element with some of the things that were in Maggie's Grave and The Haar in terms of like an overarching plot for a main character outside of the graphic violence that's going on. And then Dead Girl Blues, I do think would be a good one if you also like Rotten Tommy. If I didn't say that already. That one just gets very depressing the farther you get in. So that's how I would set that up. I hope all of that worked and you could follow all of that. I did enjoy all of them. I will say Night Shoot, Forgotten Island, The Haar, and Maggie's Grave are more, oh, and Rotten Tommy are more creature feature. And then kind of Night Shoot is a little bit of an outlier, because it's sort of creature feature, sort of not. And then Dead Girl Blues, Perfect Victim, and if you wanted to put it there, too, Night Shoot is more like human story stuff, but some of Night Shoot delves into definitely like slasher movie trope stuff, so it doesn't quite fit, but I think that is it. I've read 5 Sodergren books. There are some I didn't read. There are 2 that he wrote himself I haven't read yet that I'm gonna wait and read a little bit later, and then he co-wrote one that is like a Western, and I'm not a huge Western fan, so maybe at some point, but he's not the primary writer on that one, so I'm unsure if I want to read it just yet, just because Westerns aren't super my thing. But yes, so there is that. Perfect Victim it was very cool to follow Katie. Also, her mantra throughout is be the pug, and it has to do with a pug she had as a kid named Balloon. I don't want to like reveal what be the pug means because it's like her mantra for the story, and if I get too much into it, it'll spoil stuff, but I just thought it was funny that it was be the pug. That was the most pug-centric of the books, and I'm wondering if it's because it was supposed to be his like sort of fun casual project that he was working on in between parts of Dead Girl Blues, so he was just like really leaning into pugs. I am trying to remember if I told you the pug in Dead Girl Blues was just someone walking a pug, I believe, as opposed to the pug that has appeared in some other versions. But yes, so that is all the Sodergren. Have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Please let me know. I enjoyed all of them. I think they're really quick reads. I'm also reading them on Kindle Unlimited, so screen reading is pretty fast for me. So I don't know if that's also why I'm reading them pretty quickly. Anything on Kindle I normally read pretty quick. But yeah, I had a lot of fun reading all of these. I was very surprised by all of the like deep messaging that appears in some of them. And it was just a really fun time. I would highly recommend all of his stuff if you're looking for horror. I will say Perfect Victim isn't as horror. It could also, I feel like, be classified as a thriller. So if you're looking for more of a thrilling read, I would say that one. The others do have a more horror tone to them in terms of like what's happening throughout. But yes, so highly recommend. They are all on Kindle Unlimited. You can buy physical copies, but if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're all there, so it's super easy to get a hold of. But yeah, let me know if you have a favorite Sodergren, if you have read any of the ones I didn't mention. If you read that Western, let me know, because I'm just curious, because I didn't really read additionally except that it was a Western. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this very spur of the moment vlog that I was not planning on doing. And I have books for my next vlog, which is also kind of spur of the moment based on the fact that some stuff came in faster than I anticipated. But I do hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, please subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram. Hi, I'm just holding this pug now. Also at Clef Go Ever After. Yeah. Bye, internet people!